Just got a phone call as we're about to go live. Hello, YouTube. How you all doing? It's a real sunny day here in the Midwest. Real hot, actually. But I've had a day, and I want to talk about it because I think it's something that nobody else seems to talk about on the social platforms, or maybe I just don't get connected to that in the algorithm. For the most part, people that are out here making content have their shit put together for the most part. It's always good what's going on with those guys. And I think that's great, obviously. But I also know that the other side of the coin in life, and I'll just run you through my day and then just share as I go. So I woke up in just a mood, man. I don't know if anybody else gets that, but just woke up and just didn't really want to do much out of the blue. Went, just didn't want to do much, and then we had work this morning, doing a job near here, and just all the way there, I'm driving, Kate's in the passenger seat, just not talking, just don't really want to be there. Do the job, it's actually fine, get paid, it's pretty good. And then head back, Kate goes to do her thing, and then all of a sudden, I'm by myself in the living room, and I just get smashed with these emotions. And it goes real quick, it goes from like frustration and anger to almost within sometimes 10 minutes, all the way down, and this is why it's called the 6 foot rope. It drops into those suicidal thoughts. And this hasn't happened for a long time, which I'm very blessed for. Like, it hasn't. Last summer, it was a lot worse. This, whatever you want to call this, like, if I'm the only one in the whole world that experiences that, then that is what it is. But I think with the data that we can see with male suicide rate and struggles that men are going through, I'm not the only one. So whatever it is, and we'll talk a bit more about how I've made notes to keep me on track. I'll talk a little bit more about what I think it is in a minute, but it's something that's happening, and it happens quick for me. And I want to kind of talk about how I get through it and understand it. So let's talk about what it is. For me, it's, well, in fact, maybe not talk about what it is first. Or we could. I'm just trying to keep this concise. I've never expressed these thoughts, and this isn't easy things to talk about, because it's going to be different for everybody. I'm not saying that I have like the exact answer to what causes suicidal thoughts, but I just know that I have them, and it's happened today for the first time in a long time, and I'm back now talking, and I feel okay. Those thoughts are now gone, and I understand what they are, or at least I can understand where they come from. And I think that's the first step in this, is understanding where they come from. And for me, and again, it's going to be different for other people, but for me right now, it's mainly because I've played, and if you're new to this channel, I talk about the commercial game of life. That's what I believe the Matrix is. For the last 2 years, I just haven't played that well. Maybe 3 years, really. I kind of just got fed up doing business online the way I was doing it. And I was making good money back then, but I was fed up, and I kind of wanted something different from life. And then I got to America and just didn't really want to interact with this, so I thought I could escape it. And that's playing the commercial game, the complete inverse. That's literally commercially not viable. And I did that for like 2 years, so you can imagine what that impact that has on finances and opportunity and value in the marketplace, perceived value, reputation. It does do a lot when you're new. Like, if you're already established, not so much, but when you're up and coming, it does. So I just haven't been playing that game very well, and it's put a lot of stress on me, and I wonder if that's what causes it for other people too. You know, I've never been in this position financially, and just working my way out of it, it's just very challenging, it's stressful. Again, I don't think I'm the only one. And that's why I make content about it, because I've also experienced when it's not like this. I've experienced when I'm playing the game well, so I know I've got it in me, and I'm just working back to that. But I wonder if there's a connection between suicide rate and the commerce game and playing it poorly, because that's what it is for me. The stress just gets overwhelming, and then my mind and I guess my ego is trying to figure out the next step and figure out how to come back and all of this shit. And it gets too much for me, to the point where I'm just like, I don't even want to play this game anymore. And that's what it is, that's what it is for me. I don't want to play this game anymore, i.e. think about just not being here, not playing it. And it's tough when you get in those spots. I find it challenging, obviously, and I'm going to talk about how I get myself out. And the first step is allowing myself to cry. You know, that's maybe not an easy thing to do. I find that challenging to just let myself cry and be okay being upset. You know, it says my phone's getting hot. We're in the Subaru studio, and it's real hot, but Kate's working inside, so it is what it is. Um, that's what, you know. So let's talk about, yeah, coming back from it. The first step is letting myself cry, and that might be difficult, and I prefer now to do it away from other people. And I know that's maybe counterintuitive. Like a lot of the, I guess, guidance that I see for how to deal with mental health as a man, I don't really resonate with it too much. I think you've got to take more responsibility. I've tried to do that where I just open up and share everything with Kate, but honestly, it just derails me from getting back in the game, because that's ultimately, I'm not gonna, I don't want it to stop. And ultimately, I hope you feel that way too. I know that I don't really want this to end. It's just a challenging time, and obviously some people go past that point, but you know, so it's a case of how do we get back in the game. And I think just openly sharing with Kate and putting it all on her is, it just slows things down and it stresses her out. It sometimes knocks her off her axis because she's like, ah, you know. So I prefer to do it alone and get through this by myself now, and with God, and talking about that is something I never thought I would, but I do that. I don't know who else you're supposed to talk to. For a while, when I had these things, I'd like want to speak to my mom. I want my mom to sort out my problems and um, figure out like these thoughts. But again, it's like she's living her life, and it just slows everything down. So this whole campaign that we've got about like just speak up, just speak up, it is like, yeah, definitely don't not talk about it, but just be selective of who you talk to about it. You want somebody that's gonna resonate with it, not just like make it worse. So, but you have to take the responsibility. And I choose to talk to God about this because nobody else really understands. Hello, whoever just tuned in, Blue Star, good to see you. Nobody really understands, in my opinion, about me. So anyway, the first step is crying. Then I just go and do that away, and then I have like a place I go to that just makes me feel good. That's for me is the dog park. I just love it, man, and I just watch the dog run around, and he's just so present. He's so present, man. It's like kids in it, but he's just a consistent kid, and that's why dogs have been shown to add 10 years to your life, because they keep you present if you just watch them. So that's my mechanism. I get down there, I look at this guy, and I'm just like, oh, he's present, I'm present. And that brings me up a notch. You can already feel the difference in that. That just feels very different. It's like, okay, I'm here now. And then you can assess your situation, get back into it. And sometimes the next step is obvious, sometimes there isn't one. But you kind of let the emotional charge go and don't try to solve it. That's what the masculine energy wants to do. It wants to solve this and understand it immediately. And it's like you got to give yourself space and be okay that you might not get the most productive thing done, or I don't know. It's like you have to balance it. Sometimes you've just got to compartmentalize it and get your job done, like I did this morning and I would have this afternoon. But you have to go back and deal with it. You can't just put it off. So if you have the space straight away, just go do it. It's like a decompression. It's like, whoa, I'm real emotionally charged. This isn't me. This isn't how I want to feel. Go give yourself space and then bring the charge down. And then you've got a more clear mind. You know, you've taken a few deep breaths and it's like, okay. And you get to assess the situation and come back to center. And then, you know, that leads me to then be like, okay, what's a positive action I could take? How could I choose to be a better character? Because you don't want to live in your victim character. A lot of that overwhelm, stress, suicidal thoughts, all of these things typically stem from when you're playing your victim character too much, in my opinion. That's at least what it is for me. So it's like, okay, what do I have to do to empower myself to not be the victim in the story? And that's like my version of that is video and live streaming and trying to like get other dudes out of situations that I feel I've just got out. That's my expression. For other people, it's different. And you just got to find what that positive action is after you've come back, and then all of a sudden you just live in a different character, and all of those things start to just go. It's pretty amazing, really. And then it just, you know, the cycles to it. And as you like, I want to be more honest on this channel. I spent a lot of years trying to be like this guru guy that's got his shit together and he understands everything and he knows this, and you know, you put on this like flawless show, and the money's really good. The money is so good. The money I used to make is like crazy compared to what I've seen happened in the last 6 months, 1 year of my life after working harder. The money back then, the relative number was like mad, but my soul didn't feel good. And it was just, I think a lot of people get caught up in this like weird ecosystem of guru money where it really is good money compared to all these other jobs. The money's great, but spiritually, I do believe that you could become bankrupt because it's just not. I know this isn't for everybody, but a lot of these guru guys, they're spiritually bankrupt because they just spend their whole life charging people ultimately for information that surely if you truly wanted to help somebody, you just give it away. You just give them everything, wouldn't you? A true guru, I don't believe you turn up to a true guru and he's like, he's set up in his temple, and you go there, you walk up that long hill, the classic story, and you get there, and he's like, well, I'll tell you the answers, but it's 2997, and only today, 4 spots left, and you're in like the temple, and you're like, oh, dun dun dun. Do you get your credit card? Do you buy? That's what the fake gurus are doing, isn't it? A lot of them. It's mad. Like, and when you've been in it, and when you were one, and I was that, I was just selling information I learned to people to continue to look like I had information to sell and worth. That was my value in the world, and that was difficult. And it gives me a unique perspective though. And if I spend like 5 minutes on Twitter or YouTube and look at the guru, you can tell within about 13 seconds if they're legit or not, because they stink of guru when you've been one. And maybe if you've just got a good eye for people and you really understand the commercial game, shutting down.